What's up, nerds? This is Bibs, and today I have 3 analyzers that I want to show you. As you can see behind me, I have 2 monitors, one in the middle for Cubase and the one on the side is for these plugins that help me visualize the dynamics of the sounds, the frequencies, and also the stereo image. Let's check them out. So the first one that I want to show you is called Scope and it's from Vengeance Producer Suite. It's a waveform analyzer and it's a great tool to check out on the dynamics of your sounds and see how everything is compressed. I have mine at the end of the master bus, so this way even if I'm soloing a track in the session, it's all gonna run through this gen at the end anyway. So let's bypass these 2 compressors so you can see how it affects the waveform. So as you can see, it's not as squashed as before and the drums are way louder than the rest. So having a waveform analyzer is a great tool to understand compression. If you're a beginner and you're not quite sure of what compression does, I highly suggest you to have an analyzer like this and in conjunction with a compressor right before. So this way, as you play with the settings of the compressor, not only you can hear what it does, but you can also visually see how it affects the waveform and you might understand compression better and faster. Then we have a Sonogram, which is a frequency analyzer. The one that I'm using is called Manalyzer and is from MeldaProduction. You're probably more familiar with this kind of graph right here. That's the kind of display you can see in the back of most EQs, but this is missing some information. For example, we have a kick drum playing in the back, and looking at this, you would think that the whole frequency range is being filled up, which is true, but what this doesn't tell you is that the mid frequencies and the high frequencies are only playing during the transient. So this is more precise and it's more helpful when it comes to mixing, EQing, or even multi-band compression. And if you're gonna use Manalyzer, there's also this plugin from the same company called MMultiAnalyzer, and it's the same concept, but every plugin that you're gonna insert into your session will communicate with each other. So for example, here I have one inserted on my kick, snare, pads, hi-hats, bass, and if I pick only the last 3, I can choose to display only these 3 elements into one single window. So you can see the bass in blue, purple, whatever color that is, the pads in orange, and the hi-hats in green. And as a general rule of thumb, you don't want too much frequency overlapping, otherwise you're gonna get that thing called frequency masking, and the instruments are not gonna be as clear and defined. But this plugin, if you're struggling with your mix, it's a great way to spot where the problem is. Lastly, I have a correlation meter, and I'm using Scope again, but just a different tab. So essentially the point of this is to make sure that your stereo mix translates well into a mono sound system, and it analyzes the left and the right channel, and if they are perfectly in phase, then it's a mono sound and that cursor will be all the way to the right, and if they were to be completely out of phase, then the cursor would be all the way to the left, and meaning it would cancel each other if it were to be merged into mono. I do want to make a dedicated video about stereo imaging, so I'm gonna not go too deep into it, but regardless, let me give you a quick demonstration of how a phase meter reads your signal. So we're gonna use Spire for this example, and we're gonna have a sine wave playing that we're gonna pan all the way to the left, and I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna make a duplicate, but this one will be all the way to the right. So if I'm playing this, we have 2 identical signals on the left and right channel, and that's why it's a mono sound. All right, so now if I shift the phase of one of the oscillators, now we start to get some stereo action. All right, and if I go completely out of phase, now the correlation meter is all the way to the left. So yeah, to be honest, I don't use the stereo field analyzer that often. I like to do this by ear, and just an advice, I wouldn't sacrifice the stereo image for the sake of mono compatibility. That's it for today. I hope you guys liked it, and I see you in the next one.